Nutrient deficiencies actually get out of control and skyrocket with carnivore. If you eat carnivore the way they meant it to be, where you're only eating meat and meat alone only, your blood work might show nutrients because nutrients are pouring out of your organs to sustain you. You're going depleted, but you don't know it. They're pouring out of bones. You're getting mineral deficient. You can't go carnivore without getting mineral deficient. And so when you get your blood examined while you're on carnivore for a month or two, you got some nutrients in there because those nutrients are coming out of every orifice of your body to keep you going because you're in a desperate mode. But then eventually, once you run out of every nutrient, every trace mineral, and every antioxidant, now you're totally screwed. You get your blood tested 2 years from then, oh, you're deficient like hell. And then if you switch your diet and you're on a diet that's actually helping you, they'll see your old deficiencies and be like, you're so deficient, and be like, what the heck? Now I'm deficient. That's how much confusion it is out there. Results off the bat. The reason why you get results is because you're mono-eating. Not just mono-eating, you're getting rid of the gluten. Doesn't mean it's a panacea, and it doesn't mean it's an answer to heal chronic illness. You can take somebody who never had a problem yet. They're 25 years old, they're exercising, and they go completely carnivore, mono-eating meat only. And you give them a year, you give them 2 years, and they'll be off of it. And the reason why they'll be off of it is because their muscles won't build properly anymore. They don't have any glucose to feed their muscles. They'll start aging and look way older before their time. They'll have the meat age. The meat aging, where your skin just starts to fall apart over time. You don't have any antioxidants in your diet. So many people lie on social media too. They're telling you one thing, but it's not what it seems. They're actually doing something entirely different. They don't want to lose their mojo on the set. They're doing their social media and their reels and everything else. And they're not going to tell you they cheated on this a little to survive. They ate a little of this over here. They were over here at their family's house. They had a bite of this. And then they're going back on saying, I'm carnivore. This is how I eat. They're showing you what they eat on social. But you don't think anybody lies? A carnivore diet. They all left carnivore. They all brought honey in and lemons. They didn't have honey and lemons in it before. They all brought fruit in there. They didn't have fruit in the carnivore diet before. They shape-shifted it. Because when you go carnivore where you're just mono-eating meat, your electrical activity just drops and goes down and falls apart. And you short-circuit. They were just literally bumping into walls because they had no glucose to feed their neurons and feed their brain. Or they were dying for sugar. You have to have glucose or you can't function. The carnivore experts are drinking fruit juice. I called the shots many years ago that any carnivore expert is eventually not going to be a carnivore diet expert. They're just experimenting on people who are following them. And so the carnivore diet is no more. It doesn't even exist anymore unless a new person comes on social media and says, this is what I'm doing. Meat only, eggs only, chicken only. Good. Let's see what you do in 2 years. You'll be eating honey, berries, lemons. When carnivore was just only meat only, I predicted that they would all just bump into walls and they would have to bring in some kind of sugar. And then they did. They failed. So they had to bring in some honey, and then they brought in some lemon, and then they brought in some apples, and they brought in some berries and some other stuff. But still, because they're eating all that animal meat, which is animal fat, then they're combining all that fruit, which is, yes, glucose, yep, fructose. They're combining still a big fat and sugar combination. Eventually, they're going to be just boom. Now they're pre-diabetic as they get a little bit older. It all comes to town. You can't stop it from coming to town. You're going to be deficient, quotation marks there, is what they'll say, not knowing anything about the B12 that's in your book and the B12 information. Okay, great one. The B12 weapon is a great one too. The ones that are taking down the vegan movement and the plant-based movement, they use the B12 example right there. But what the vegans and the plant-based people did not adopt, what they did not do is know medical medium information enough to know that everybody's B12 deficient. All the meat eaters are B12 deficient. And the B12 in meat is not even synergistic to your body. It's not even bioidentical. So you can't even use that B12. The B12 in meat isn't B12 your body uses, so you become B12 deficient, even if your blood test says you have B12. And so that's why millions of meat eaters are getting sick every single day. You can be B12 deficient, both as a plant-based person and a vegan person, and as a keto person, carnivore person, or any kind of animal protein person. You can be B12 deficient, and guess what? Everybody really is. Even if their blood test says a certain thing, if you learn medical medium information, you can learn how to heal. The details matter. The ketogenic diet has a false name. It's fraud. The reason why is you can't go into ketosis. It's impossible. The only way to go in ketosis if you only eat meat and chicken itself and only do that. When you do carnivore, the way carnivore was meant to be, which is terrifying, where it was just chicken and meat only, or turkey and meat only, or just meat only, you end up going into ketosis in that form or shape. That's the original ketogenic diet. It's carnivore. But then keto took on this whole different life, and it took on eating some green apples and low glycemic fruits and berries, avocados. You cannot go into ketosis if you eat even a tablespoon of avocado because it has sugar in it, which will then stop your ketosis. It'll stop it. So then, if you even have a nut, you have a walnut, you just shut down ketosis. If you had some tahini, you shut down ketosis. It's a fraud name is what it is now. You can't go into ketosis unless you avoid all sugars except for the very minute amount of sugar that's in beef, which is the blood from the animal, and that's your best bet. That's the only way.